Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 34 of my Forex trading journey. I hope each and every one of you are having a amazing Monday so far. Hope everyone had an amazing weekend. And today we're going to go ahead and continue what we are doing in the Forex market. Now, just taking a look at some of our opportunities right here. I do not have anything for gold versus euro as of yet. Nothing for UK oil, nothing for US oil, nothing for LTC USD, nothing for platinum, nothing for gold, or anything for silver. Now, because it's Monday, what we are going to go ahead and do is we're going to add a new pair to our mix. Very, very, very excited to do that. So let's go ahead and first, let's get that taken care of. All right, everybody. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go to the download section right here. I'm going to click on empty for Windows. We know that I know a lot of us know the drill, but for those who are just kind of looking at this and saying, what is going on? This is how I go ahead and I add some of the programs that I have over on my side right here. This is how I go ahead and start that particular process. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on settings. I'm going to disable that. Let's see, we have about, let me go ahead and just take a look right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I would do is I would do this. I believe that's the way, 7 right there. Click on next. I'll allow that platform to go ahead and install. Oh, hold on. Get my stuff back. Okay, there we go. All right, again, nothing on gold, nothing on oil, nothing on the two oils, I should say, nothing on LTC for the moment, nothing on platinum, nothing on gold, nothing on silver as of yet. We're getting that installed. Click on finish, and then we wait for that program to come up, and then we move forward from there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Just gonna get some of these other programs closed while we wait for that. Okay, all right. And we're just waiting for the other program to come up now. There we go. So let's pin that to our taskbar. We'll move that up just a little bit. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, so I'll choose the Hugo's Way Demo 3 as my server. I'll choose a new demo account. Put this at 100. Yep, I agree. Click on next. All right, beautiful. So we got that. So now let's go ahead and let us set this bad boy up. Oh, all right, beautiful. So we've got that set up now. So now all we really need to do is just pick the pair that we want to work on this time. So I'm going to go to view. I'm going to go to symbols. I still want to do a crypto. So we've already taken care of all the energy and metals. So we're already working on all the energies and metals that we can do for Hugo's Way. So now we just got to find something that we can work on. So that being said, let's see what we got. Just taking a look, A lot of choices. Let's do Cardano. Why not? All right. So I'm going to use Cardano. And okay. Well, I already committed to it, so we're going to do it. All right, beautiful. Let's get that up there. All right, beautiful. And then let's get, okay, it's fine. Let's do that again. All right, and then we get the indicator on there. All right. Beautiful. Okay. So now we got Cardano on there. We've got silver, we've got gold, we've got platinum, we've got LTC, we've got oil, we've got UK oil, and we have got now gold is almost ready for a sell opportunity. Of course, we have that down arrow just showed up on this candle, so you have to wait 8 minutes until that candle closes. However, when that candle closes in the next 8 minutes and that down arrow is still there, we'll go ahead and we will jump into a buy opportunity. So with that being said, I'll be checking out this pair and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get into a sell trade with gold versus euro. Again, we had our down arrow shift to this particular candle right here. Let me go ahead and circle that. And we waited the 15 minutes it needed to go ahead and close. And after that close, the down arrow still existed. So that is going to tell us that we're going to go ahead and get into that sell trade. And then also, I do see that we have a downtrend that is forming in the market after we had a bit of a bullish run. So let me go ahead and explain that just a little bit for everybody. That, again, it's not necessarily important as far as keeping this simple. However, for those that are looking for, hey, what's the purpose for getting into that trade? What's the purpose for that sell arrow? Well, just taking a look, we did have a little bit of an uptrend that happened. And so we're going to consider this again, we're still following a bullish structure. And so now we had a lower high compared to this previous high right here. And so that really did start the descent for us. And then as price went down, it created a lower low compared to this previous low. Another lower high was created, another lower low, another lower high, another lower low. And now we're all the way right here where we have a resistance zone right around this particular area right here. And so that is the reason we want to go ahead and we want to get into this trade, at least for right now. So we're going to go ahead and allow this particular trade to play out. And again, all we're doing as we move forward throughout these particular days, right, is we're staying in the game. Our our mission from when we started this on day one was to indeed come up with the simplest way to trade in the Forex markets. And from day one to day 34, we have gone ahead and we have indeed continued that mission. Nothing has changed in that particular case. No matter what has happened from day one to day 33, we've always stayed in the game. And not only that, but we more importantly have focused on today. I feel that's so important for a lot of traders, especially as you move forward, because again, we have had some amazing days throughout this journey. We've had some tough days on this particular journey as well. Yet we always want to make sure, when we want to keep in mind, is that we're not worried about what's happened in the past. More so, we're only focused on what's going on today. What is today going to bring us? What is the adventure? What is the steps that we're going to take on today's journey in order to move forward with our trading future? And then I also want to go ahead and talk about, because you are going to notice for a lot of these pairs, we're at a part, or at least a lot of them are at a part where I'd like to go ahead and say we're on drawdown mountain. Now, what I mean by drawdown mountain is that the matter of the fact is that our balance for a lot of these pairs is indeed higher than our equity. Now, as far as our strategy, what does it call for? Because we're going to talk a little bit more in detail a little bit later today on what the strategy actually entails. But for me, knowing the strategy that we're doing, which is mainly focused on hedging, my objective, if you will, is to not necessarily focus on the balance. My objective is more so to focus on what's going on with the equity. And so let's say, for example, because we're looking at equity right now, if it was at $103, for gold, my objective is to ensure that by the end of the day today, as best as I can, did that equity move forward where it either stayed the same at $103, or did we go ahead and did we increase that equity up to a certain amount? Now, the balance can still be, a little bit more than what our equity is, but as long as our equity does keep increasing as we move forward, because equity is And I've talked about this so many times on the earlier days of our journey, but I do want to go back to the car analogy, right? So in a car, you have the I'm not gonna not I'm gonna do a box car because there's that's as good of an artist experience as you're gonna get on the show. But point being, the idea in this car analogy is that you've got the little, the monitor thing. Let me get rid of this. Give me 1 second, everybody. Okay, there we go. So the idea with the car analogy is that we have our little gear right here that has full right here, and then you've got the other little setting that says E right here for empty. So I like to consider that, and of course we consider that our measure of what our tank is. And so that's what I refer to as the balance, just this particular in the, going back to the car, where you see the fuel and the empty and, how much gas can the car hold. That's the balance for me. So that is how much our balance or how much gas we can hold in our Forex account. Now, depending on where that little the ticker is, that will show, okay, are we closer to the full side or are we closer to the empty side? Now, well, let's say that our gear is right here. So this little lever, or this little setting that's telling us, okay, this is how much gas we have left to go. That I would go ahead and consider that as part of our equity right here. And so the reason I bring up this analogy is as long as we have something in the tank, as long as we have equity in the tank, then that is our source, that is our fuel for how we can go ahead and how we can trade another day. In other words, if you run out of equity, you run out of fuel, and you'll have to go to the gas station in this analogy, and you'll have to refuel your car. Now, as we can see right here, we took the first trade of the day today. So no matter what happens, whether we end up winning this trade or if we end up having to take a loss on this trade, the concept of what we need to do as we move forward, and I've talked about this today, tomorrow, next week, next year, next month, all that good stuff. The idea is we have to go ahead and we have to take this first trade of the day. We have to accept the outcome, whether it is a loss or a win. Oh, and by the way, I do have a buy candle that is showing up for US oil. So just taking a look at our trading, at least for right now. Let's go ahead and let's get our gear ready. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a trade on a US oil here within the next 2 minutes, as long as that buy candle closes right there. And so coming back now, the idea for how we're going to go ahead and tackle this moving forward is the matter of the fact that we're going to go ahead and we take our first trade of the day, we take our second trade of the day, and we keep on going. We keep on moving forward. And again, it ties back into what I said earlier, that we do not let the past control our experience moving forward in the future as a trader. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I've got the one click right here turned on. That's very important. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Okay, so let's come back over here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait for this particular candle to close so that we can go ahead and get into a buy trade. We're currently working on a sell trade for gold versus euro at the moment, and that is pretty much what our game plan is, at least for right now. So another thing that I wanted to bring up, and I talked about this briefly on a couple of days on the third week that we were here, and this is based off of a principle that I read in the book Unshakable by Tony Robbins. So again, I'm going to come back to a lot of the books that I have read, at least a lot of the important points, because I want to make sure that we're driving, or at least we're remembering the most important concepts for what we need to do as we move forward throughout these markets. Now, that down arrow, that candle did close with the buy arrow intact. So I'm going to close one of my sell trades that's in profit so that that can act as a buy trade for us. So right now we're currently doing that with US oil at this particular moment. So we're going to go ahead and allow this particular trade to play out. So we're going to do just that. So right now we are in one open buy trade for US oil, and we are in one open sell trade for gold versus euro at the moment. UK oil, LTC, platinum, gold, silver, and Cardano. None of those trades are ready as of yet. So we're going to stick with these two pairs at least for right now. But let's come back to this principle of different set of beliefs, a strategy, and doing things differently, and how come that's so important as we move forward. Because a lot of the most successful people that are out there, and this doesn't have to just be in terms of Forex trading, mind you. This is prevalent among many different sectors of all these different industries. So we can tie this back into music, we can turn this back into real estate, we can turn this back into even stock market trading, real estate trading, crypto trading, as far as building a company, all this stuff. What a lot of the most successful people do is, yes, there is a baseline, there is a model, there are mentors. For example, right, I have had many mentors that I have followed and in their footsteps, as far as just some of the people that are right in my life right now: Salvatore Leto, Dr. Luis Ariaza, Maurice Katz, Ryan Doctorchek. I followed those particular individuals as far as the foundation of my Forex trading concept strategy as of right now. And then, of course, I've had different Forex traders in the past. But with that being said, this model that I am using, which is primarily focused on hedging, primarily focused on the trend, primarily focused on pullback trading. And again, that's the many concepts that we'll talk about later. But the idea is that I have a different set of beliefs that guide me in terms of, okay, I am a world-changing emperor. I am a 10, 11, 12 counting figure earner. I am a global network. I am the top podcaster in the world. I am the top Forex coach in the world. And again, while a lot of this may sound rehearsed, may sound new, I have already got that implanted in my brain because of all the journaling that I've been doing, since last year. I've written out this particular statement most days that I've been journaling. Those are my top 5 statements that I go ahead and I write down. And so that allows me to go ahead and have that belief, that identity within myself. And so a different set of beliefs is the reasons for my future success in the Forex trading market. Now, I do have a buy arrow that moved over to the next candle right there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look to see how that is indeed going to play out for us. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to go ahead and do this. So the low point on this was 83.581, 581, 580. We're going to move that to about 200 points. So right about down here. So it's 83.379. 83.379. 83.379. Okay, perfect. And then we've got our buy arrow on this particular candle right here. So we're going to wait for that to close the next 30 seconds before considering getting into another trade. And then as of right now, we're still in a trade for a gold versus euro at the moment. So coming back, so there's a different set of beliefs, and that's part of it. Now, another thing that allows people to differentiate themselves is the fact that you also have a strategy that is taking place as well. So what I mean by that, for example, is I go ahead and I'll close another buy trade that's out there. So now we're in 2 open buy trades for US oil at this particular moment. And I'm going to go ahead and just move this candle right here. We're going to move that over to, sorry, folks, just give me 1 second right here. So the low point right here is 83.539. There we go. Now I'll move that 200 points down. That is 83.333. 83.333. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll leave that right there. Okay, so let's come back, and then we have our open sell trade on gold versus euro. And then just taking a look at everything else at the moment, we do not have anything else at the moment. Okay, so now let's come back to our strategy right here. So the strategy part of what we're doing is also different compared to a lot of Forex teachers. And again, a lot of amazing Forex teachers that are out there, a lot of great teachers that are out there. But my strategy is indeed different from most of them. I use what's called a hedging system a lot of the time in order to go ahead and get these trades rolling for me. And so by doing that, hedging is indeed different. It's one of the strategies out there, but it's not all the strategies that are out there when it comes to how to trade in the Forex market. And again, when we'll talk about hedging in a little bit, but that's part of the difference of my strategy, my unique strategy. And then on top of that, I also have my own risk management and own cost average principles when it comes to trading. We could see, for example, every time the buy arrow moves over to the next candle, I'm putting in a second trade. And so I'm putting in what's considered a cost average trade in order for me to take multiple trades on one particular pair if necessary, if the candle moves over, if the arrow moves over to the next candle. And I'm also basing this on the fact that I have my own risk management principles as well. For every $100 that's in my account, I am going to increase my lot size by 0.01 for most pairs. Now, that could differ depending on other factors, right? If let's say that I believe that the pairs that I'm working with that won't necessarily be able to handle that strategy, where, risk management may be off. Mostly it will be the risk management part that I'll be tweaking because, again, I don't believe you need to fix the trend part of it. If we're seeing an uptrend, more than likely we want to take buy trades. If we're seeing a sell trend, more than likely, or downtrend, we want to more than likely take sell trades. And again, my entering and exiting of these trades are also going to relatively intact remain the same. Now, the way that I exit might be a little bit different, but the way that I enter these trades will indeed be the same, just based on my observations over these last 34 days. But come to the point, risk management and the exiting part of my trades is also going to be at the same time a little bit more uniquely different than what is being taught out there. And also, I do things a bit differently. Not only do you have me just taking trades and that's about it, but I also go into how come I'm taking trades, some of the principles, some of the education, some of the wisdom I do believe is useful to a lot of you guys. I also have on the channel, mindset trainings. Now, it's not necessarily different, but some of the principles I bring up, I do believe are different than what most teachers would talk about. There's also the interviews that I've been doing. Now, I haven't done an interview in a while, and I am going to be changing that course very, very, very soon. I'm definitely excited for some of the interviews that are indeed coming up, but I do have them. And they also help me when I do these interviews, help me prepare for topics for some of my deeper mindset trainings that are on the channel. And then I'm also working on of course, I've talked about my website, that I'm using the service called ClickFunnels to do. And I'm recording my journey there, in case someone wants to have a website developed. No, that's not necessarily my main focus, mind you. The main focus is what we're doing right here. But again, these are all things that I've decided are very important for the channel, at least for right now. Now, can things change as we move forward? Absolutely. I don't believe we have to remain stagnant or stuck in what we're doing. There might be other things that I talk about on this channel that I do, again, believe are very useful to the investor that desires success in the financial world, achieving that financial success, desiring to achieve that financial success through investing, again, without the complexity. So anything that I can do to go ahead and bring that to light, I am definitely doing so. And through that point, that's how I do things differently. So matter of the point being, if you truly want to be successful in this market, if you truly want to be successful, not just here, but in anything that you do, you need to have a different set of beliefs. You need to have a strategy that's different, and you need to do things differently from everybody else. And when you're able to go ahead and differentiate yourself, make yourself that unique brand, then everything else is indeed going to fall into play. Now, another thing that I do think that is in my belief and that I do things a little bit differently, the reason I bring up the $100 equation is through Forex trading. So, of course, there's different ways you can trade, not just Forex or not what we're doing right here. Of course, there's stock market trading. We've talked about it, crypto trading. Now they got NFTs and now they got all the games that are out there. But as far as what I am focused on, which is the Forex part of the investing, what I love about this market more than anything else, understanding that in the world we have a $6.6 trillion market that we are focusing on. What I really love about that concept is we can start trading in this market with as little as $100. Let's think about that. Being able to trade in this market with as little as $100 is so powerful for a lot of people, because in order to start to really grow in the stock market, let's say, you need a ton of capital in order to get things going. And for a lot of us, the people I desire to serve, I want to speak to those individuals that don't have a lot, because I know and understand and feel what it feels like to not have a lot in my life. Now, I'm grateful for the things that I have, because without those things, I would not presently be here on this microphone talking to each and every one of you. So I am grateful for the journey that I have taken so far and the path that I have walked as far as my mindset goes. But with that being said, if I know I can be right here and talk and trade, understanding what I have gone through, and also understanding that the universe is not a respecter of people, then I have a obligation, I have a duty and a responsibility in order to be successful here in front of you guys on a YouTube channel, in order for you guys to go ahead and do the same exact thing that I'm doing. And again, that is the purpose for this YouTube channel. This is the purpose of what we've been working for about 34 days in the market for, because of the principle of starting trading, to start to trade in this market, to make the income that we desire with as little as $100. And I'm not saying this journey has been easy. What we've been practicing or what we have been doing is simple, but it is not easy. And we have been taking bumps on the road. If you don't believe that, you can check out the rest of this journey. Days 1 through 34, there have been some very, very, very tough, very hard bumps on the road. But as I keep saying, we just keep moving forward. We don't look back. We don't look sideways. We don't look counterclockwise, all that good stuff. No, we go ahead and we keep moving forward, because time waits for no man. And I'm certainly not waiting for me to relive the past. It really does not, it does not serve any of us to go ahead and do that. And so throughout this journey, what we have learned to do, even throughout those tough days, is that we have worked on, and this is something that you will also need to go ahead and do as well, is to work very hard on internally handling losses. I remember just starting out this journey, I go back to my 25-year-old self, and my 25-year-old self did not know how to handle losses. My 25-year-old self was frustrated, and a lot of that had to do with me internally, because I had no idea what I was doing. But throughout that particular journey, I have indeed lost money in this market. I'm not going to make what's the word I'm looking for? It's no big secret. I have lost money in the market. You have seen me lose money, by the way, throughout the early parts of my journey, before we've gone ahead and we move forward. And so we have worked on internally handling that. I have worked on internally handling not only that loss, but that embarrassment that everyone was able to see. Oh, wow, I did lose money. What is next for me? What is the next step? Are we done here, or do we keep moving forward? And of course, the answer is, because I'm still on this camera, that we have indeed moved forward. But the point is, throughout all this time, I have worked on handling losses, not just here, but in my life in general. And throughout this time, it's hard. It's hard to go ahead and at least first start out and realize, look at all I have, and then look what has to be let go in order to make room for what is about to come. And so here's what we have lost, right? Funds, money. But what we have made room for in terms of losing that money is the experience we now know, the wisdom we know now, the retweaking of our strategy that we know now. And we never get to that point, though, or I don't believe we get to that point, if we did not get to those losses and held them in a way that was more positive feedback than negative feedback. Again, you have a choice in terms of what you can focus on. You can focus on what's wrong, or you can focus on what's right. And so what I would deem right in this situation is the experience, the wisdom, and the information I know now that I didn't know back then, that's going to allow now for more success in this market. And so as you move forward, and again, I encourage everybody, as I keep saying for the millionth time, to practice trading on a demo account, right? That way, with a demo account, yes, it's not real money, so the effect won't be as what I like to call a real account, no pun intended. But the idea is that you want to start working on handling that stuff now, and work on internally just handling the fact that you are going to lose in this market. And by doing so, this will allow you to become better equipped to handle the road ahead. Because again, we're only scratching the surface with $100. There are going to be bigger account balances, there are going to be bigger wins and bigger losses. throughout this journey. And so we need to start going ahead and practicing the strategies that are going to allow us to get from 100 to 200, because then that would ultimately help us go from 200 to 300, understand exactly what that's going to take. By the way, I went ahead and I placed another sell trade right there as a cost average for gold. And so coming back now, the matter of the fact, excuse me, the matter of the fact is that we need to go ahead and just learn not only how to start with trading on a demo account, but also work on internally handling those losses that will come up from time to time again. And the reason I can go ahead and handle those losses well, the reason I bring all this up is, again, what's so important for me as a teacher is to understand exactly how I need to apply the student master dynamic. How do I go ahead and I apply the student energy and the master energy, not only individually, whenever I need to go ahead and channel that energy out into either the camera when I'm talking, or whether when I'm reviewing what I'm doing and looking for better ways to do my things. But how do I then go ahead and blend them together so that I can become the greatest Forex teacher in the world? And again, that's not me trying to be egotistical. That's not me trying to, come off as arrogant. I truly don't mean to make myself out to be like that. But I only have those ambitions. I only have that particular mission in mind, because what that allows me to do, especially where I come from, is if I can do this, if I can be that person, I have other people that can follow my footsteps, trade first, then teach, maybe find their own different way like I did. Again, someone may follow my strategy, but then there might be something else that I'm not seeing that they use that could be more effective than what I'm doing. And if that's the case, I've won as a teacher, because my aim is to produce an army of capable Forex traders, capable financial investors that can go into the world, crush this market, and live out their dreams. That's all I desire. And then everything else will fall into line after that. And again, you saw right there throughout these a couple of examples that I have indeed done what's called cost average trading. And again, the objective with cost average trading is, for gold, for example, we were in a little bit of a drawdown with some of our previous positions, which is the reason why this arrow moved over to the next candle right here. So going back from this candle right here, so we started to take a trade right here. Then we had this candle move up. Then we had this candle right here move up even a little bit further, and our down arrow went ahead and went over to the next candle. So the idea was, once that down arrow moved over to that next candle and that candle closed without the sell arrow disappearing, that was a cue for me to go ahead and get myself into a second sell position with gold versus euro. And, that's the example of a sell. Let's take a look at what happened with the buy. The buy in this example, our first candle was right over here. So let me get my pen. The first candle was right over here. Then the next candle was right over here. So we took one trade after this candle closed, and we took the second trade after this candle closed, because, again, of our cost average trading style. Now, what was different with gold versus euro was that we opened up two sell positions right off the top. For a pair like US oil, because we already had some sell trades that were in profit, and of course, the reason why my balance went down a little bit was the fact that we also had swap fees, and we talked about what swap fees do, on some previous days, but the swap fees are a little bit more, from my understanding, my knowledge, are a little bit more than just half a pip, like I had talked about with gold, silver, and platinum earlier, the swap fees are indeed a little bit more massive on US oil and UK oil so far. So that is something that I'm paying attention to. And again, that's exactly how come we trade on the demo account first, so that I can understand all these pairs, understand how they work, understand how their swap fees, their spreads, their commissions work, so that it can only help us move forward. But coming back to the, the hedging part, right, is we went ahead and we closed some of those sell trades that were quote unquote in profit, even though they were not. And that allowed then the account to, because we closed those sell trades, it was almost if as we had opened two buy trades. But again, we didn't, because, well, we just decided to take two sell trades, or we decided to close two sell trades instead. Now, with all that being said, hedging, what I'm doing, how I'm trading, showing off this journey, showing off the great, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff. To be completely honest, I can be the crazy guy. Because again, I don't know of anyone that is necessarily doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing. I do believe that, of course, you have to also account to the fact of all the trainings I have up, the interviews I have up, the ads that I'm doing, the lifestyle footage that I'm putting together, the stuff that I'm doing with ClickFunnels and showing that off and recording it. It's all different. From my understanding, I don't know if anyone else is doing that. If I am wrong, you can certainly let me know in the YouTube channel comments, and I'll put up my media stuff later at the end of the episode. But the idea is, I feel at times I can be the crazy guy that, all my ideas just sound insane. They're just like, "Oh, Jordan, what the hell are you doing?" It's those kind of moments where people are like, does this actually work? Are you is your mind I don't consider my mind being broken, but I could see how other people can come off, look at this channel, and give me that particular judgment. But with that being said, I don't care about that judgment. I know what my self-worth is, and I could care less about people wanting to do all that. And again, I certainly don't want to judge anybody, not cast a negative light. I feel like all people on this plane, on this earth existence, are awesome, but we all just have different experiences, different emotions that cause us to act a certain way, even if we truly don't want to. And so I don't cast any judgment, nor do I hold on to any judgment, because not only do I, not only do I try to give as much empathy and compassion as I can, but more importantly, I frankly don't give pardon my French, but I frankly don't give a shit, because I have this to work on. I got other important things I have to work on than pay attention to what somebody says about my trading, unless it's positive feedback. If it's positive feedback, constructive criticism, that's completely different. I'm more so just talking about the negative energy that can come out as I do this. I frankly don't have any time, and I don't care. So with that being said, one reason I can, even though I can be the crazy guy, if you think about it, the reason how come and we also have by the way, a sell trade for LTC USD coming up within the next 15 minutes. I'm sorry, within the next 6 minutes. So I will definitely go ahead and pay attention to that. The point being, the reason I go ahead and continue to still do with what I'm doing, and I remember this specifically, I was part of, and I've been very grateful, very blessed to be a part of the Time to Thrive Challenge back in August with, actually, there was a month before I even thought about the idea of doing this podcast, but I was in a Time to Thrive challenge with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and they were interviewing. Some of you may know this particular gentleman, the name of Matthew McConaughey. You know, that guy. All right, all right, all right. But of course, he's so much more than just that line now. It's absolutely amazing how he's gone from actor to, life coach, mentor, just absolutely amazing gentleman. But there was one particular piece of advice that he had received, that he had shared on that interview, that completely changed. And of course, I was also revisiting that because I was looking at, reviewing my own trades, just really wanted to go ahead and make sure with, what I was doing was indeed right. But then he brought up something to me, which completely turned first, it completely turned my perspective about perfectionism around, making sure, waiting until the perfect time and making sure that I have the perfect strategy in mind before even developing the channel. And also all the content that I do, not being afraid to produce it, not being afraid to display it, and not being afraid to show it to people because of this one particular power that everyone, regardless of what your industry is, should know about, so that you can go ahead and get this enlightening message as well. All right, everybody. So I want to go ahead and just do a quick recap. So the two trades that we took on gold versus euro, we did end up winning those trades. They closed out at 30 pips of profit each. So we took those victories right there. Oil, we did not win those trades. That ultimately was a loss. So we are 1 for 1 on the marker, as we say. And then I also do have, let's see right here. Let me just go ahead and magnify that a little bit. Okay, it looks like we do have a sell opportunity we could take for LTC USD. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. Now, again, the way I do that is I'm going to close this buy trade right here to count for a sell opportunity. So I'm going to move that to the top for us. And then let's take a look at everything else that is here. Yeah, I'm just taking a look right here. Looks like we may have missed gold. That's okay. That's all right. So we've got LTC going. So we've got LTC going right now for a sell trade. So we'll go ahead and we will leave it right there. Now, I was talking about before we I had to sign off for a little bit of a break, that there was a special power that Matthew McConaughey talked about on his interview with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. And this power, I believe, is so important for a lot of us, especially as we go through life, because of how significant this power can be when we truly understand how to use it. Now, exactly what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the power of not knowing. Now, the power of not knowing is this in its most simplistic form. We have been on this journey, and throughout this journey, we have known things about the market that can help us. And because we now know some of what we didn't know, this has allowed us to retweak our strategy, retweak exactly how we need to trade on some of these pairs for the ultimate goal, the ultimate vision of trading successfully, sustainably, and being able to really take advantage of, again, I'll say the number, $6.6 trillion in this market per day. Now, knowing this, And going into this, coming with the perspective of, well, if I try this, it goes back to when I started this channel. If I decided, okay, I'm going to not do this, I'm not going to record myself in front of a camera, I'm not going to show people how I trade. If I decided to, at that moment, when I had that vision, say, oh, that's ridiculous, it's never going to work. Oh, you're going to also try and do interviews and all this stuff. Oh, it's never going to work. Oh, you're going to also do what you're doing with ClickFunnels and also record that so people can watch it. Oh, it's not going to work. Ads, not going to work. If I kept saying that to myself and not attempted to do any of that stuff, heck, even if I went back 2 years ago, Forex trading, and when this was presented to me by Chica Simone 2 years ago, and if I had said back then, no, thank you, I'm not doing this, I don't believe in this, then what would happen if I didn't know exactly what this not only skill could do for me, but some of the other skills that I've also developed and grown since I was able to do this, right? And see, it's that power of not knowing and not knowing that makes it worse. Because again, a lot of what we do in life, the moments in life that we make choices directly influence the path in life that we take. Now, with that being said, not making a choice is certainly also a choice in life. Not making a decision, being hesitant to make a decision is very much a decision. And so that power of not knowing, what would have happened if I decided to take this route? What happened? It's those questions that come and honestly, it makes you sick inside. And so it's one of those certain guiding principles that I have that really allows me to push myself to do things I know I'm scared and uncomfortable doing. But by doing it, in a matter of speaking, it allows me to grow and see and get the experience that I most certainly deserve. And so, with that being said, the power of not knowing is it's a that power of not knowing is like an evil villain superpower. It is one thing that will keep you from living the life that you truly deserve. And so when an opportunity does come to you and you don't know how it's going to end up, well, that's more than enough reason to go ahead and take that opportunity. And sure, we want to go ahead and if we don't know within reason, we want to risk within reason, certainly. Yet me just plain not taking an opportunity because I don't know what's going to happen, I'm scared of the outcome, is more than enough reason to go ahead and for me to take that outcome, to take that action. And I'm grateful that I did take that action 2 years ago to be put in this position right here. Because again, learning this skill for me, I know is very powerful. I also look at it as a responsibility to where if I could teach this to people so that you guys, that everyone here can grow your own freedom, then that is a duty that I happily take. That is a duty that I embrace with open arms to go ahead and teach as much as I can on these YouTube channels within reason. A lot of what I teach in the Forex game, it doesn't make much sense for me. And I guess that's also another thing that I do differently. I don't teach unless I'm trading, because what would the point be? And again, this is just my perspective. I'm not saying that there's a right way to do things nor a wrong way to do things. This is just a way I do things. what would I go into this in my perspective thinking, what is the point of me teaching this stuff if I'm not actually showing people how I do the work? Knowledge is potential power, right? But without applying that potential power, it just is potential power. Once you apply it, then it becomes power. So the power that I want to generate for you guys to look at and to receive is, in order for that to be as successful and as nurturing as it can be, this is exactly how come I have to show everybody the trades that I'm doing specifically. And I've said this before, and I'm going to borrow this quote from Unshakable by Tony Robbins. It's not enough to know a principle. You have to practice it. Execution is everything. And that's why, for me, whenever I teach, I have to first show people before I even teach, before I even come onto this camera and I record myself. I need to let people know that, yes, I am indeed doing this for my own account. I am indeed looking at the charts as I'm doing right now, and I am taking trades. I'm recording those trades. So that way, in my eyes, I'm doing everything I can to show you that I'm not just talking, that we are doing the work that's going to allow us to be successful. And with that being said, with with what I do, and I know that I've been recording for about 33 days in this journey prior to day 34. I know the reactions. I know the noise that's out there. I know some of the energy that can or cannot come my way. And for me, my objective, my mentality is to not concentrate or focus on the noise that is out there. Rather, my objective is, am I do I come onto this camera always asking myself of this at the beginning and then answering this question at the end. And it's this question: did I do an outstanding job today covering a concept in the market, covering a specific trading day in the market? I always ask that question to myself at the beginning. At then the end, I'm always able to answer that question. Whether that's yes or no is besides the point. I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm always looking to, I guess this is a weakness of mine. I don't know when I'm satisfied. I always feel like, oh, there's something I could have done better. And that's great if we want to think about it that way, not being satisfied, chasing the next dream. But what I also have to work on is, am I okay with celebrating myself? Am I okay with saying to myself, you know what, today is today and we can go ahead and celebrate? I think that's what I really want people to really start doing, because there is noise in your life. There is stuff that's out there that's going to drive you off the walls bonkers. There is noise out there that's going to make you feel like the world is going to end at some particular point. Maybe not the world in terms of, the global collective world, but your personal world. I've been there. Personal noise is very damaging. And my best advice on that, especially because that noise will indeed impact how you concentrate in these Forex markets, don't concentrate on it. Don't focus on it. Don't provide it any attention, because that will impact what we're doing right here. I have to have, and this is exactly how come I indeed have and by the way, I have a buy hour right here for Cardano. So I'm going to go ahead and get that moved over. The one thing I don't particularly like is I just want to go ahead and be able to move this over to this taskbar right here. That's something I have to work on. That's just a little I guess little complaint I have. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but we do have a buy trade coming up for Cardano, so I'm very much looking forward to taking that within the next next minute or so. But the idea being, is that when we trade, or when I wake up 30 minutes before I trade, I'm always looking to listen to my priming video to make sure that I get myself into a state of calmness, into a state of, okay, I am solely focusing on this for right now for these next 5 hours. Everything else that's going on in my life can be dealt with at a specific point in time. But right now, I desire for these 5 hours for me to work on Forex trading. And that is my mentality, and that's the mentality I wish to share with everybody here as they trade, regardless of your skill level. Because what we need to understand is that the less noise we have and the more we can focus on this, the better. And again, this is all just information and wisdom that I'm speaking. And it's the way that I adhere to my own method to the madness of trading and we just got okay, very good. So that's moving. Cardano, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves into a first. Let's put that to 0.01. Then we're going to go ahead and get ourselves into a buy trade right here. So we got our first buy trade in Cardano. So it's very exciting. We'll let that trade play out there. Then everything else, well, we are kind of just waiting on LTC to do its thing and Cardano to do its thing as well. But main point being, coming back now, what I provide is my own method to tackling the madness that is in the market. Now, everyone's going to have their own, every teacher, every Forex trader. Oh, by the way, again, everyone, absolutely amazing. More people should be more. I would desire to see more people step up and teach what they know, become Forex traders, give more people the opportunity to seeing the seeds we can plant in this $6.6 trillion a day market. And we all know that number is growing, by the way. It's not going to be the end all be all right there. But coming back to the point, everyone has their own method to the madness. Everyone's going to teach a little bit differently. Everyone's going to do their own style, their own thing. Now, I'm a very competitive person by nature. And again, that's probably because of my sun sign. I'm an Aries. And Aries are very absolutely competitive. More on that on a separate series later. But the idea being that I do want to take my own mentality. And again, it's not for me to be egotistical, arrogant, but I truly believe what I have to teach is the best in my mind. Now, that doesn't mean I can't learn or grow as a person, because that's certainly when I need to, check myself and say, hey, yes, there is growing that you can do. You are not perfect, nor will you never, ever be perfect. But what you can do is to continue to chase your higher self. And so with that, if I want to be at my higher self, I always need to grow. I always need to learn, gain a new perspective, fresh information, etc. But the idea being that, everyone is going to, as you start to learn, grow, and perhaps get into teaching, or, if you want to keep this, and again, you don't have to, it's just an option. But you're going to start to realize that everyone has their own little method, their own little tricks, their own little tools in how to approach trading. And that is certainly something that you're going to pick up. Now, you may model something that I do, but I do not envision you'll do my method 100%. And that's not to say, again, that you're not coachable, not teachable. I'm not saying that at all. More so what I'm saying is the fact of the matter that we all are going to approach the market a little bit differently. And that's human nature. We all want to do things just a little bit differently to express ourselves a little bit more. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that is absolutely perfect that you want to go ahead and do just that. And so what I know is my strategy, the three core components that I know that is important to me. Whether that's important to you, you will decide that for yourself. But what I look for is trend. What I look for is risk management. And what I look for is when to enter and when to exit a trade. Now, those three core components of my strategy may be fixed. The way that we do them is not set in stone. Trend will always be the same in my eyes. Again, I've talked about that. But risk management may look differently depending on the pairs that we trade, the account balances that we grow. Again, it's all very much in fluctuation. We always adapt to what I would test out, believe is going to be the best way to approach the market. Same goes with when to enter and when to exit trade. Now, granted, I don't believe I would change the entering part much, but I may change at some point, depending on our testing, depending on depending on the days ahead of us. That exiting part may also change. And again, it's not to say that we failed, we wasted time. No. Every moment that we're in this particular market, learning something and testing out our strategy, we are progressing forward. And as you become more advanced, become more knowledgeable, you will also understand that progression that you have made for yourself. And so with that being said, I know who's watching these videos. At least I have a feeling I know who's watching these videos. I've talked about this before. There's three groups of people that I know are watching these videos. Number one, family, friend supporting me. And by that, I say, hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you, all that good stuff, right? And then secondly, I know that there are people that are tired of the financial struggle, tired of thinking that this is the only way for them to just struggle and live paycheck to paycheck while also worrying about inflation and all these other things that the economies of the world are expressing. They desire to breathe, in a sense, a desire to just say, can I breathe? Can I go ahead and just breathe a little bit and be able to just have a moment to not think about all these things? And it's detrimental to someone's health in a way to have to always think about worrying about the bills and all this other stuff. And I know that's part of the reason that some people are here, is to say, okay, is there a different way? Is there something that I can go ahead and do to change all this? And those are people that those people are probably the most important people I desire to serve. Because it tells me a couple of things about you specifically. You are indeed hungry, not physically, not in I am starving and I need food, but hungry in a way of I feel I have more to live in this life than just working at a dead-end job and doing a 9-to-5 lifestyle and having this glass ceiling above my head and being stuck where I am. I truly believe that's where you are. And if that is so, you have come to the right place. You've come to the place that you desire to be, so that we can work on getting out of that one bite at a time, one day at a time. Again, Kaizen. Kaizen is the most important thing I'll ever talk about, because we have to understand this journey that we're on is not overnight. This is not get rich quick. I will never do something like that to you. I would never try to be that. I would not lower my integrity to tell you that this is a get rich quick scheme. Absolutely not. No, this will take work, but with doing this and putting in the work, the rewards, I'm confident will come, but you must stay in this game and you must be patient about it. So that's one person I'm talking, one group. That's the second group I'm talking to. Now there's a third group out there. There are other Forex traders that are looking for something. They're burnt out. They've already tried this and have failed. And what I mean by failure is not a matter of, we all take responsibility for how we trade in this market. But I don't believe that failure is something to be shameful of. Failure is not something to lower your hat. Failure is not something to bring you less confidence about what you're doing. No, failure to me is, and I've mentioned this a couple of times before, whether that is I took somebody else's quote or if it's just my own quote, remains to be seen. But failure to me is just a new beginning with the information that you didn't know back then. Now you do know now. And I even have teachers of, other teachers probably watching this program doing their own thing. And perhaps they're modeling something off of me, and that's completely fine. This is free education. I don't intend to not do this, if that makes sense. I believe it's important, again, because I want to give, as much open access to this as I can. But, there are teachers their own that are probably going to model something. I'm not saying everything. I'm not that I truly believe I'm not that egotistical where I have like all the gold in the world. Because again, I know that I don't. You've seen my past failures before on this channel, and you know that I don't have all the pieces of information lined up right now. I don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, but we're getting the puzzle built one piece at a time. But with that being said, there's something that somebody's taking and adding to their own puzzle that may or may not be more complete than mine, and using that to enhance their program. So those are the three groups in a nutshell: family, people who want to seek a better way of life, and traders, Forex traders that are already out there. Now, with that being said, all that in the world, I desire to become what's called the black sheep in trading. I desire to be, and it goes back to me being the crazy guy. I desire to do something that may seem outlandish, may seem like I'm not going to call myself this, but a DA. I'll abbreviate that and let you come up with exactly what that means right there. I want to become that, only in the mentality of what I do might sound crazy, might sound outlandish, but I know my heart of hearts will work. And when it works, people's minds are going to be blown. Again, the desire for doing all of this was to avoid the complexity. And I will not blame, I will not downgrade, I will not cast any negative dispersions, because again, a lot of what I'm so grateful for all these tools, because that was exactly how I traded initially in my first or second year. But now I understand that a lot of that stuff I really don't need. I don't desire to learn all that stuff. I don't want to make trading that complicated. And so, it's in my, I guess, subtitle, that this word, but I really truly want you to express where I'm coming from. I help those who desire financial success achieve it through investing without the complexity. I don't want to be the person that's telling you, oh, you got to learn the RSI, then you got to learn exactly what the support and the resistance lines are, even though I do talk about them a little bit, but it's not the main concept of my teaching. Oh, and then you have to go ahead and learn what the stochastic oscillator is. And then you have to go ahead and use all these moving averages. When I think about all that stuff, I think to myself, do we really need to make trading that complicated? Are we not able to dumb this down? I say dumb this down, but what I really mean is, can I explain this to somebody who pretend, again, I pretend that I'm talking to the person that I was 5 years ago. I pretend that I'm talking to my 22-year-old self, who at the time, by the way, did not know anything about the financial market. Again, I only learned this stuff when I was 25. So now I look at my 22-year-old self, and again, I don't have a camera, right? Right, and attached to this computer, because again, this is just us trading. But the idea, or the point I want to make, is it's almost as if I'm putting my shoulder, I'm wrapping my arm around my 22-year-old self, and I'm telling him, okay, this is exactly what I'm doing in order to trade. And I look at my 22-year-old self, and I remember where I was at this point when I was 22, October 2017. Now, I don't want to get into a whole. Oh, let me first get into the SPY trade with Cardano, but I don't want to get into a big story about it. I don't think it's important, but I know where he was. He wasn't thinking about Forex trading. He was at his job at TCF Financial Bank. He was at a different apartment in a different city, working on his first relationship, which, reflecting, he had learned so many lessons from that first relationship, as stubborn as he was when it ended, to thinking some of that stuff wasn't his fault. Now he knows. Again, we're not going to get into it, but now he knows that there's a lot of that stuff that he did back then that he must absolutely never do again. But I only bring him up because it's almost as if I'm talking to him. It's almost as if I'm channeling to him, listen, this is what we are doing. He's got all these questions in his head, and I'm doing my best to answer as many questions as I can. But I also know that tomorrow in his self and tomorrow in myself, we're going to come back. He's going to have more questions. We're going to answer those questions. And for me, it's a matter of understanding it again, where I'm at, how I want to go ahead and teach this to somebody, not make it too complicated. And because of that, and the way that I trade, and the way that my strategy is indeed a little bit more crazier than most, that's why I believe I'm in the belief that I must be the black sheep in Forex trading. Now, with that being said, I'm not trying to go, off the wall here. I am obsessed with avoiding losses, as with any Forex trader that's out there. Any investor, period, is obsessed with avoiding losses best as we can. We can't help it. There are going to be times, like we had with the U.S. oil earlier today, that we do indeed take a loss, and we have to be comfortable with accepting those losses. But most of the time, if we can help it, our objective is to make sure that we do not, or if we can't, then we want to make sure we're close as possible to making sure that we avoid losses. Because the more money we lose, and I'm going to write this down, the more money we lose, the harder it is to get back to where we started. right? And, I stare at this and it is very much, it's very important, and not even just maybe take this out of the market, for instance, and just think, the more money that we lose. Now, there are different interpretations to losing money, but in the matter of speaking, it is hard to get back to where we started once that happens, especially in Forex trading. So the reason we're so obsessed with avoiding these losses is because it's hard to get back to where we started when that happens. Now, with that being said, I always bring up the fact that you don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. And why I also obsess over starting out with $100, because $100 in today's economy, $100 isn't a lot to start out with. And if we can turn that $100 into something substantial, something powerful in terms of the financial scope, then it's going to be absolutely amazing. And with that being said, to add to the point, defense is 10 times more important than offense, right? So my defense in this situation, actually, need to spell that. There you go. Importance. There we go. So to me, defense is 10 times more important than offense. Hence, hedging for me, the hedging strategy that we're doing is what I would consider my defense. And that defense, if we can make sure that we put ourselves in a position to defend ourselves and be able to hold on to how come we need the hedging strategy, how come it's so important to us, how we can connect that to defense, then it will be a core component that we have, that we desire, that can allow us to keep going on this journey. And we have seen times on this journey, by the way, which is how come I'm very much I'm strongly what's the word I'm looking for? I have strong courage in my convictions that hedging does work, because I have seen examples already on these days. May not be a whole lot right now, but I've seen parts of the journey in the days that we've been recording where that hedging part does work for us in our favor rather than against us. Having that defense was important because it allowed us to move forward in certain aspects in certain days of the journey. Now, the reason why all this is important is because protecting ourselves is more important than being right all the time. And so I look at that in a matter of not just the hedging, but now also recording those days. Recording those days allows me to see that, instead of being right all the time, I am protecting myself in the fact that, if we do this long term, this is never going to work. So now we can go ahead and adjust the strategy even more. We can, instead of doing this that we had been doing, that we thought was right at the time, now we clearly have a sample size. We clearly have a video log showing that that part of the strategy that we were trying on this particular pair indeed does not work. And we can go ahead and, instead of doing that, we can try something else. We can see what else, we can adjust it a little bit so that it does indeed start to work for us. Now, the one thing that I also am, and this wasn't, of course, part of the initial vision, but now as I start to think about more of this channel, what we're doing, all the different stuff that's out there, what I really am starting to see with all the work that we're doing is, yes, the objective first and foremost is, of course, to grow as investors. Yes, a bigger account balance will get us all the things that we desire. Yes, we achieve financial success. And yes, we're going to get to that point. However, one thing that you're also understanding, or at least that I'm understanding as I teach and review and grow myself, is the fact that I'm not just growing as an investor. I'm not just growing as a podcaster. I'm not just growing as a a financial teacher. I'm also growing as a person. You know, I certainly didn't think that we'd be here. You know, I was not born when I was born April 1st, 1995. I don't believe the vision for me was being here on the spotlight and teaching Forex trading in the way that I'm doing it. Certainly wasn't in my cards. I certainly had different aspirations, visions, dreams. But then as I really started to awaken this part of myself and realize how many doors this could open for other things to come. See, here's the beautiful thing about vision. The vision never contracts. It never dies down. There are visions that I have back in my childhood that I certainly do want to still carry on in my lifetime. For example, I desire to be the owner of the Denver Broncos. I desire to be the owner of the Denver Nuggets. I desire to be the owner of the Colorado Avalanche. And I desire to be the owner of the Colorado Rockies. Those are all things that have been, and every one who knows what I'm going through also has that same dream. Yeah, just, starting out as a kid. Now, of course, reality can slap us. So the world, or the earthly world, as I like to call it, can slap us around and say, well, that's not going to happen. But even with the world doing that and getting to the point where that may have not been in the forefront of my mind anymore, and other things came in, of course, the world. As I sit here and as we do the trading, there's certainly no reason for me to not have that dream. It may have not been as fast as I'd loved it to be, but I certainly, especially when the Forex trading that we're doing as we start to move forward, well, what's to stop me from dreaming those dreams again? What's to stop me from saying, wait, this is possible. I can attain it. I can do it if I want to. It may sound crazy now, as I said, I can't be the crazy guy, but then that crazy dream turns into a reality. Then what? So the moral of the story there is, we're growing as investors, growing as people, and don't stop believing in your dreams. Don't. Your dreams are your dreams for a reason. Hold on to them, embrace them, love them. Because if you hold on to those dreams and you do something that is that impactful in your world, then, my friend, you have lived a truly fulfilled and purpose-filled life. And I want you to hold on to that. And so this only works, by the way, I brought up Kaizen before, but this really only works if we build the foundation one day at a time, one piece at a time, one trade at a time, one account at a time. Like, I know I sound like a broken record, but really the principle of Kaizen has guided me to this point, for good or for bad. And we're still here. this channel is still here. Even at, a month and a half later, here we are from the start of this channel to where we are right now. And we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing the things that we need to do so that we can continue to still love and embrace the channel like I do. Now, I talked about forexfactory.com, but I do believe it's important to review it again. This is where we can go ahead and get all of our information on different things that are taking place within the markets. Now, you saw right there that before we got onto the call, there were a lot of red folders surrounding the Great British Pound and the Euro. And so that's going to affect those markets that are substantially dealing with the pound and with Euro. Now, there is going to be some news later today at 7:45 a.m. my time, so within the next 45 minutes, that is going to be red folder news for the American dollar. So a lot of these pairs that we're seeing right here in about 45 minutes are going to do some crazy moves. That's the purpose of a red folder news event, is it's significant financial news in the USA economy. And that is going to impact a lot of these pairs that depend on the American dollar to have a certain price value. And so if the American dollar, if there's news that worsens the American dollar, then a lot of these particular pairs, their price is going to go up because it will take more American dollars to buy that particular product. Vice versa, if there are news that straightens the American dollar, makes the American dollar more valuable, then the prices of each of these different pairs are going to go down because now it will take less American dollars to buy that particular product because the American dollar is now more valuable. Another thing that we want to talk about, and we talked about defense already, we talked about protecting ourselves, but the smartest investors, they want to seek to risk as little as possible to make as much as possible. And that's not just with Forex trading, but I do believe that every wealthy entrepreneur, every wealthy businessman, every wealthy individual that's out there, we all want to seek as risk, and we want to risk as little as possible to make as most as possible. Now, that may not always come in the financial sense, what you're trading. You may trade in financial money, but you may not get back financial money back. You may get some information that saves you time, that allows you to earn more money faster, so that you can save more time. Time, in the theory of relativity, if we're going to go well into it, time is infinitely greater than money because you can always make money, but you can never make back time. I'm going to repeat that again. You can always make money. You can always make back money, certainly anywhere. But what you can't do is you can't make back time. Father Time is undefeated. And so this market right here, when we make money, we have to understand that we saved ourselves time by doing other things to make that money. I mean, I read I hear this from Salah all the time. No, I just saw a guy make $1,000 a day. Like, tell me how long it would take if you're working a 9-to-5 job, or if you're doing something else. How many industries can say, "Oh, I made $1,000 today, just today. I took home 1,000 in my pocket, balance, wallet, whatever you want to call it, $1,000 a day." And so when I hear this, it's not, and again, this will all come back to perspective. I'm not jealous. I'm not saying, "Oh, I wish I had that." No, what this is saying is, "Ooh, okay, I can do that. I just got to keep working on it, and I'll get to that point and even bigger." And so to do all this, again, I come back to we seek to risk as little as possible to make as much as possible. So whether that is information, whether that is context, whether it's at your network, whether that is a open door for something more, whether that's a seed that's planted that allows then a tree of prosperity to grow. Not to get too spiritual, but but by planting these seeds and gathering the tools that we need, again, we are saving time rather than making money. Now, a lot of the trades that we're doing are focused on the arrow that we see. A buy arrow, the arrow pointing up, or the sell arrow, the arrow pointing down. Now, a buy arrow that we see represents a buy opportunity because, again, the buy arrow is representative of a market that is definitely in a bullish direction. Like take this, for example. This buy arrow is right here because the market over the past, however much these candles have been going in a upward direction, which is how come I don't focus now. That's why I primarily just focus on trend and market structure. If I know that this is going up, then chances are the market is still going to go up unless told otherwise. And it's just like a sell arrow. A sell arrow that we see represents a sell opportunity because we know at that particular point in time. So, for example, U.S. oil, we may have a sell arrow coming in because we now know that there is indeed a downtrend or our prices going down in the long term. This sell opportunity was a sell arrow at some point during our trade earlier today because we see that the market is indeed going in a downward direction. And by the way, by just saying that in its most basic, we don't have to go into what I like to call the complications. If we just break things down simply, then everything makes sense. And that's why I truly when I say that this channel is here, it's just to keep everything in a simplistic form. There's no need for me to go ahead and make this as complex as it needs to be. Well, what's the point? There's no point in me understanding who my audience is. And again, it's not to say that I think that my audience members can't digest what I say in a complicated manner. I'm not questioning their intelligence. I think everyone who comes into my channel are smart, beautiful, talented, wise people. However, there is knowledge and wisdom that comes into play when I could break everything down into its most simplest, basic form. Instead of treating this like a giant of complexity, I'd rather treat this as the dwarf of simplicity. And if we can treat this market not as the giant complex structure that it is, but the dwarven simplest matter, then this market isn't as scary as we want to make it out to be. Then we can go ahead and make sure that things can indeed keep on going the way that we want to. Now, with that being said, I'm going to come back to my next book right here. Now, we talked about Unshakable by Tony Robbins, You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Now I want to bring up again this book, and I've talked about it for, I want to say, the past couple of weeks, maybe at least just this last week, The Miracle Morning by Hal Chase. And I want to talk about a subject called Born Out of Desperation. And I feel that this subject is very true and key to my heart because of what it took for me to get to the point where, and I didn't know about this at the time because, again, I was reading these books as I was getting into the midst of me learning how to trade for myself. But one of these books, again, the desperation part does really bring into a point of changing your perspective when you first hear about it. All right, everybody. So I wanted to go ahead and just come back to the charts with you guys. So I just want to let you know that we have 4 open buy trades going on for Cardano at this moment. We only have the 1 open sell trade that's going on for LTC, and that's about it. Gold versus euro, we do not have anything on that yet. US oil, we do not have anything on that yet. Gold versus USD, we do not have anything on that yet. We do not have anything on UK oil as of yet, and we do not have anything on platinum as of yet, nor do we have anything on silver as of yet either. So that's the update I want to go ahead and give you guys. And from that, I also want to transition into back to the miracle morning. We talked about being born out of desperation, and let's dive into that a little bit further. Now, desperation is the raw material of drastic change. Only those who can leave behind everything they have ever believed in can hope to escape. So let me bring up a picture on this. So, of course, when we grew up, it doesn't matter where your background is or anything like that. We've all have the same thing where when we were brought up, we had certain what we like to call programming, where as far as that programming was concerned, now I do want to also address it like this. It is not. I don't want to cast any negative dispersions or anything like that. That programming was made based off of a few certain things, perhaps things that we can dive into a little bit deeper, but do know that when you were born or when you were beginning life, you had these particular conditions that were placed upon you in order to help you survive, to protect yourself, to defend yourself, whatever you want to call it. That was the basis for what I like to call the ego, the thing that kept you from what I'd like to call the things that go bump in the night, so to speak, the mysterious and the unknown. And so if we are to go ahead and treasure all that is out there in the world to explore, to take, to have, to receive, however you want to make of it, we have to go ahead and understand that all that programming, all the behaviors that created what we like to call the ego, we have to go ahead and we have to confront it and get rid of it. Or if not get rid of, at least convert it or adapt or turn what we have into something that is better to serve. That basically we need to get rid of the things, to make a long story short, we need to get rid of the things that no longer serve us. And to make profound changes in your life, you need either inspiration or desperation. And in some cases, you may need even a little bit of both. Because without that inspiration to turn things around, and inspiration can come from many places. It can come from a coach. It can come from something you may have heard in a motivational or inspirational real life seminar. To me, I do believe the real inspiration, you have that inside you. You have that thing that makes you want to go ahead and make those changes in your life, or the thing that wants you to move forward and really attain to what I would like to consider your level 10 life. In order to do that, though, in order to get that inspiration, it does need to be extracted. Now, it can come from a variety of places and how you can extract that information. Some like experience, some like as I had mentioned, a seminar where other people who you aspire to be, not in terms of comparison, but understand that that's the level of success that you hope to achieve for yourself and even more. That can also be a way that that inspiration is extracted. It might be a strategy, it might be a plan, but the matter of being is it's in you. We just need to know how we can extract that information. And then there's desperation there, and then there's for desperation, there is that's a situation where, if we think about it, and I'm just making sure I've got my eyes on both Cardano and LTC, but in that situation with desperation, that's a matter of, okay, I've been in this position, I no longer want to be in this position, and I'll do absolutely everything. I'll do absolutely what it takes to get me out of this particular position. Now, your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development, because success is something you attract by the person you become. I'll put it like this. I would not be able to do a podcast like this if I did not walk the path that I was walking before. Before September 6th, the day of the first episode and the day that the podcast officially started, I had to go what I like to call a certain path in order to talk and conduct this podcast the way I have been conducting. I can go into a variety of experiences. I can go into my journey in a little bit more in depth, but do know that without those experiences, I would have never grown into the person I am now to be able to give the information that I can give to each and every one of you. Now, we all want level 10 success in every area of our lives: health, happiness, finances, relationships, career, spirituality. Give me an example. Any example out there. If you want that level 10 life, know that you can grab it, know that you can get it. But if our levels of personal development, knowledge, experience, mindset, beliefs, etc., in any given area are not at a level 10, then life is always going to be a struggle, right? I always pride myself in being a student and a teacher, because without being a level 10 student, how can I become a level 10 master that can then become a level 10 teacher? It can't happen that way. And so to become the best teacher, and to become the best master, I must. This is not optional. I must become the best student that's out there. And that means I have to pride myself in learning something new every single day. Whether it's something about my spirituality, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon on another series, or whether it is something in the Forex side of things, I learned that. Or whether it's something in terms of building my own brand, that's something I have to learn. If I can't give myself to a point where I become all those things, if I don't have my internal development going on saying that I'm at level 10, then I can never achieve having a level 10 lifestyle. All right, everybody. So we are back again. We are still on Cardano. So that's our Cardano trade that's going on right now. We also have LTC that is going on as well. So we still have those two particular trades in play, and we're watching those two trades play out. Now, let's come back to what we were talking about with the miracle morning. Our outer world will always be a reflection of our inner world. Our level of success is always going to parallel our level of personal development. Until we dedicate time each day to developing ourselves into the person we need to be to create the life we want, success is always going to be a struggle to attain. So imagine this, right? the reason we're going on this journey, the reason we're showing the day by day progress is, again, success like this does not come overnight. Success is like that is never going to come overnight. It is not not easy. It is simple what we're doing, but it is certainly not easy. And thus we have to condition ourselves, train ourselves into becoming the successful traders that we want to be. And we can achieve that desire together. We could definitely go ahead and do that, but we have to understand that the person that we start out with as we go through this training journey is not the same person that is going to be with us when we leave this training journey. There's going to be a change. Now, it's not going to be it may not be a radically different change, mind you. It might be something as small as, you grow, you have different beliefs, your mission gets bigger. I don't know. I'm not sure what that change is going to look like for you. I can only tell you from me, and that's not for me to be braggadocious or egotistic or any of those things. But I understand that the person I was when I started this journey, when I turned 25, is not the same person that I am now, as I am in the halfway point of my 27th cycle around the sun. There are things that have happened between that point and now that have transformed how I am nowadays, or indeed what I need to focus on. On the one hand, we all want to be happy. On the other hand, we all know the things that make us happy, but we don't do those things. And why? Simple. We are too busy. Too busy doing what? Too busy trying to be happy. I mean, so let's break that down, because that's a little complex. In that situation, we know the things that can make us happy, yet we rely on certain other things to make us happy instead. And again, I'm not here to judge. I have been in this situation where things that have made me happy in the past as a way to escape, it can't make me as happy as it did back then, because of what my mind has already grown into, because of what I've been able to see. You can't unsee certain things in this world, and that's a better topic left for another day. But do know that when you start to really focus on the things that make you happy, the things that made you happy beforehand, I would be confident. I would place a bet. In fact, I would place a trade. I would sell the fact that the things that made you happy in the past, when now you're focusing on the things that currently make you happy, they're going to have less of an effect on you. And that's okay. That's normal. That's where the growth, that's where the transformation comes into play. So do know that is definitely okay. That's definitely all right. It's been said that the first hour is the writer of the day. If I'm lazy or haphazard in my actions during the first hour after I wake up, I tend to have a fairly lazy and unfocused day. But if I strive to make that first hour optimally productive, the rest of the day tends to follow suit. So what does that mean? 4:30, when I wake up, I have a certain routine that I follow to make sure that the rest of my routine ends up the same. Let me go ahead and place that buy on Cardano. There we go. Okay. So let's keep going. So I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I get up. I usually bring my computer from, it's sitting upstairs. It's sitting upstairs on the first floor of the place I'm in. And I normally bring that computer downstairs. So I've already got a little bit of motion. I've already done one particular thing on that day. It feels good to do something productive at that point, even if it's just moving the computer. Then I make coffee. So that's the second thing I've done. I then focus on my meditation so that I can remain in a calm, focused, present state of mind that is, and I'm priming my mind to be at its most optimal. So again, I've got that focus, that calm, that optimization of mind to make sure that is what I like to call the remainder of what happens on my day, for lack of a better word. Then from there, at about the 30-minute mark, I start trading. I put on the podcast if there's a potential opportunity, and I talk. And as we can see, as we've done throughout this episode, I've been able to talk for a certain amount of time because of the actions that I'd done at the beginning of the day. And because I did those actions at the beginning of the day, that has put me in a state of mind that has allowed my mindset, my body, my soul, my spirit, whatever you want to call it, to be at this particular point for the remainder of the day. Even as we're done with the recording, I will be doing other different things that need attention, and I'll be focused on that. And so that's what I mean by the first hour being the rudder of the day. If we can commit to making sure we're doing everything in our power to at least have the hour be the catalyst for the day in terms of what is going to be taking place, then we are going to lead. So basically, to lead a level 10 life, you must have a level 10 day. And to have a level 10 day, you must have a level 10 first hour that day to make that all possible. So that buy arrow has disappeared. So we're going to go ahead and put some cells on there. This will go ahead and allow us to make sure that we are zeroed out of that trade. So there we go. We're done with that. So now we focus on LTC USD, which is moving the way that we want to. And then gold versus euro, nothing right there. US oil, nothing right there. Gold versus USD, nothing right there. UK oil, nothing right there. Platinum, nothing right there. And silver versus USD, nothing there as of yet. Now, the miracle morning can impact the world by enabling each of us to become who we need to create to be. I'm sorry. Let me say that again. Let's back up, Jordan. The miracle morning can impact the world by enabling each of us to become who we need to be to create the lives that we want to positively influence the lives of others and change the world around us. And what I mean by that is change yourself first, be the example, be the light that you want to show to the world, be the crazy guy that's doing things differently, be the person that is the eternal optimist if you want the world to be eternally optimistic. Because by nature, if you do that, other people will start to follow suit around you. All right, everybody. So as we could see, we have a buy arrow coming up for US oil. So I'm going to go ahead and take that trade. So we are in that trade. We're going to go ahead and let that play out. I am still in LTC USD. We're not going away from that. I will be closing, or I will be making sure that my trades are at a zero level. Once we get to about 9:45, which is about 15 minutes from now. So we're still in LTC. We just took a buy trade on US oil. Gold versus euro, I don't have anything. Gold versus USD, not a thing. UK oil. Oh, we do have a buy opportunity coming up for UK oil. So I'll be making sure I pay close attention to that. Other than that, we've got platinum in the mix as well. We've got silver. Platinum, no opportunity. Silver, no opportunity. And Cardano, no opportunity as of yet. So I'll be focusing on LTC USD. I'll be focusing on US oil. I'll be focusing on, excuse me, I'll be focusing on UK oil. And once I have an update for you guys, I will definitely let you know. All right, everybody. So I'm going to come back here now. I'm going to be careful. Actually, you know what? No, we're just going to go ahead and close this sell trade. So we are now in a open buy trade with UK oil. I'm going to allow that trade to go on for the next 15 minutes. before our trading close for the day. Currently, we are still waiting on, well, US oil to do something. And then also we've got, we've got LTC USD currently still in that trade right now. US oil is, we're right now still, so again, US oil was still in the buy trade. LTC USD, we're in the sell trade. UK oil, we're in a buy trade. Gold versus euro, I do not have anything for that. Gold versus USD, I do not have anything for that. Platinum, I do not have anything for that. Silver versus USD, I do not have anything for that. And Cardano, I do not have anything for that as of yet. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and monitor all these particular trades until we get to about, let's call that 9:45 for LTC and oil, and then we'll wait till 9:50 for UK oil, and then that'll be our day. But I will definitely keep you guys posted and updated when we get to that point. All right, everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out LTC right here. So we're done with that. Oh, wait a minute. Did I do that right? No, I didn't. Dang it. Okay, hold on. Of course I didn't do that right. So we're going to do a buy. Hello. Okay, so we're done with that. We're done with the LTC. And then US oil, I'm going to go ahead and also place a sell right here. So we're done with US oil. I am also going to go ahead and wait about an additional 3 minutes for UK oil to finish up trading before we close that out. And then just taking a look at everything else, nothing is on the table for right now. So we're going to go ahead and, just allow all that to be in the background. I'm going to put UK oil up top. I'm going to wait for this for the next 3 minutes. And then when after these 3 minutes, we'll be able to make a decision and go from there. All right, so I am going to go ahead and place a sell right over here. And that is going to do it. So we are done with UK oil, done with LTC, done with US oil. And of course, we got gold versus euro that we're done with, and all the other opportunities, all the other pairs that are out here. So again, we have seen in this market where we were able to win, we were able to lose, and we all have to understand that that's perfectly okay, understanding that we are indeed moving forward in the right direction each and every day as we go ahead and as we learn something. So with that being said, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and reach out to me on the YouTube comments, the YouTube video comments. Feel free to reach out to me with your questions. Also, feel free to reach me on Facebook. I am at Jordan Rosario on Facebook. I am on Instagram as Jordan Rosario 777. And I am also on Twitter as WC_Empresario. And so with that being said, everybody, I hope each and every one of you has an absolutely amazing rest of your day. And we will be back at it with day 35 tomorrow on my Forex trading journey. And as always, everybody, please do these 3 keywords for me. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 keywords. Make sure you're happy trading.